Well, just like we talked about last week, stuck with our plan and got the player we wanted. It was a fluid first round, and a lot of good players came off the board. Fortunately for us, one of the top players that we coveted was there at 24, which we did not anticipate. DJ Humphries is a tremendous talent. He's got the positional flexibility to play left and right. He's got great feet, he's got bend, he's got athleticism, he's got tremendous range for an offensive tackle. Just a third-year junior, 21 years old, from Charlotte, North Carolina, has huge upside. When you look at him on tape and you see the things that he does, you see that he has the ability to grow even more. We felt like if he came back for a senior year, he could potentially even be a top 5 pick. But we did think he was the most athletic tackle in this draft, and again, we're thrilled to have him at 24.
Bruce, obviously, you've had Bobby Mack on the right side, you've had Jared on the left side. Do you have an idea of what you want to do with DJ?
Compete. Competition breeds success. You know, we came 2 years ago and we said we were going to build lines of scrimmage offensively and defensive. Feel very good about where our defensive line is right now. And the more bodies like this that we can add to the offensive line and have that great competition and depth, the better.
Does that mean the initial competition will be on the right side with Bobby? Is that the idea, or do you not?
Yes.
How hard do you think it'll be for him, being the left tackle pretty much exclusively, to shift?
No, as athletic as he is, not hard at all.
He said that he was told by the NFL after the season that he should maybe come back a year. He was set to defy the odds and prove everybody wrong. Sounds like he made a strong impression in that offseason, is it?
Yeah, you know, the one thing is a lot of times the college players use the junior advisory committee, and generally they give them conservative grades, which is probably good. But when you have the type of skill set that this player does, and you're 6'5" and you're 315 pounds, and you have 34-inch arms, and the kind of feet and the movement skills that he does, you're obviously going to go high in the draft. And the thing that we loved about him is not only is he skilled, he's got tremendous heart and passion for the game. He was, you know, when you watch the offensive tackles play, he plays with a nasty temperament. He gets after you. You watch him against Shane Ray at Missouri, and they go toe-to-toe, and he had an outstanding game, as well as a lot of the other top SEC pass rushers. So he was challenged week in and week out, just like he's going to be here at our level.
When did you guys decide he was the guy that you wanted to go after in the draft?
I mean, we stuck to our board. You know, we had him 13th out of on our top 120 board, and he was one of the guys, again, that we didn't anticipate was going to be there. So all along, we had him in on a pre-draft visit, spent some time with him, took him out to dinner, and again, those visits are extremely valuable. You get to know the person for the first time, and so not only do we fall in love with the player on tape, we fell in love with the person and what he would add to our locker room.
Coach, what was the main thing you learned from that visit that you had with him?
Just that, the passion he has for the game. You know, he's a bright guy. The things that we're looking for and the qualities we're looking for in an offensive lineman, he possesses all of them.
Can you reflect on your philosophy on the offensive line and what you've been able to accomplish there?
Well, you know, listen, being here for 17 years, many of you know we've had a lot of lean years up front where our offensive line was a major weakness. And I think one of our goals all along, and Michael and I talked about this 2 years ago, and the minute we hired Bruce, we wanted to emphasize getting bigger and more physical up front. And now when you look at our offensive line, I don't see many glaring weaknesses. You know, we have guys from Jared Veldier to 3 other first-round picks. And to me, when you put an emphasis on your players up front, it creates balance for your offense with running the football, being able to pass the ball and protect your quarterback effectively, and to be able to create more explosive plays. I mean, Carson's going to have more time to throw the rock, and now we have some playmakers on the perimeter who can get things done.
Steve, there were some years there, I think 4 years, where maybe no offensive lineman was taken above 5th round for you guys. Mm-hmm. When you got this job, did you say, hey, look, we got to start committing some resources to this in terms of both higher draft picks and free agents?
No question. I mean, aside from being a former offensive lineman myself, I think that's where it starts. I mean, I think you want to concentrate a lot of times on building inside out. And now the kind of depth that we have on our defensive line and obviously the additions we've made up front offensively, you know, with Mike Iupati and now with DJ Humphries, I think you're going to see a lot of improvement, both offensively and defensively up front.
You both talked about that sort of being a trend in the NFL right now. There's been this shift in philosophy where offensive linemen are going higher now. Any thoughts again on why that's occurred?
Well, yeah, quarterbacks are first. Pass rushers are number 2. So you better have people who can block them. And in our division, everyone has a great defense and a great defensive front. So we also, in our division, have really good offensive lines. So if you're going to compete in the division, your lines of scrimmage better be very physical and very, very, very good.
Did what happened right in front of you with Dupree going, Broncos trading up for Ray, did that impact you guys at all?
No, we were patient, and that's the one thing I've said all along is you want to be patient, you want to stick to your board. We did have conversations with other teams about moving up. We had conversations about moving down. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to give up the type of compensation to move up, which we were not. And you have to be willing to pass on a player like DJ Humphries, which we weren't willing to do. I mean, we felt like he would come in and be an impact player for us. But, again, now that's up to him. But he is going to be the type of player, I think, that's going to come in, compete like Coach said. Nothing's going to be given to him, and it's certainly up to him at this point.
I think you had a knee injury and then an ankle injury the last couple seasons. No injury concerns?
Yeah, the small injuries, soft tissue and then an MCL last year, but no major structural issues, and he was really clean on our physical, which was great. He was one of the few guys, on top of being so talented physically, off the field and his medical were outstanding. So when you get down to that area, you usually start to have a few holes in each player.
Can you take us through the emotions of when it's time to pick, and like you said, you got a guy there that you didn't expect to be there, you had ranked 13th, and trying to get that pick in?
Well, Coach and I and Michael, we talk about it all the time. I mean, it's a long wait as you're starting to see those names come off, and the rush that you get as you get closer. Like I said the other day, it's hard to match, and we were just thrilled to be able to have a player. And Michael just said it earlier. He's the one player on our board that had high grades across the whole card. When I say that, from our area scout all the way to our offensive coordinator, our grades were extremely consistent, and they were all very high.
Steve, how excited was he when you guys talked to him on the phone?
Oh man, he was thrilled.
Yeah,
he was
it's
thrilled.
a dream come true. You see all the excitement and the tears with their families in the green room. It's legit. I mean, it's real, and it's a great feeling to feel it through the telephone. How happy they are. There's a relief factor, but guys have worked their ass off for a long time to get to this point. Now it's just beginning. I told him this isn't the end. This is the beginning.
How much of those run game struggles last year could you put on the offensive line?
Oh, I thought we blocked fairly well up front. There were some injuries that occurred, but when you talk about a blocking unit, you're talking about tight ends, offensive line, and wide receivers. Everybody's got to block for a running game to work. And again, when you start losing your running backs, you start changing what you do. So that I thought our guys did extremely well with what was asked of them last year.
Steve, how much of the move is with 2016 in mind with Bobby's in the last year of his deal? You've invested big money in 3 other guys.
I think it's more about taking a guy who has tremendous talent for the future, not just about Bobby or any other position. I mean, it's just a guy you couldn't pass up. And the kid's smart and he's passionate. One of the first things I asked him when I called him on the phone was he disappointed that he wasn't going to his hometown team right behind us? And he answered no. He wanted to come to Arizona the whole time, so he passed the intelligence test. And but again, with our coaching and knowing the type of system he's going to come into with Harold Goodwin and Larry Zerline and of course Coach Arians, I have no question that he's going to reach his potential.
You mentioned in the pre-draft news conference about judging how a guy loves football. What did you see that let you know that he loves football?
Just the way he plays the game. He gets after people. He attempts to finish blocks. He's downfield trying to finish. And then when you meet him, he's got great charisma. He's outgoing, and you can tell he loves it. So I think he'll be a great fit in our locker room.
Where do you think it'd stand heading in tomorrow in terms of positions you need, but you'd like to address a running back, pass rusher, all that still?
It's still there's no needs. Like we talked last week, I'll play with a team that we had yesterday. Now with DJ. And let's see who the best player is on the board. Now, if there's 4 of them there that are equal, then you can address a need.
Steve, you look at this offensive line, a lot of young guys on there. You look and say this is a group that can kind of grow together and be together for a long time.
That's exactly what we've talked about, because you talk about going from left to right and starting with Jared, 27, 26 years old, 27, 22, 21. I mean, this is a group that potentially could be together for 4 or 5 years and you can grow with and evolve hopefully into one of the best lines in football. And again, going from where we were years ago with having one of the weaker units to be one of the stronger is, to me, a tremendous accomplishment.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.